SCORE or Silver, whenever they needed me, and also San Benito County, right? The associations. Well, that was okay up until the pandemic started. And then we started teaching virtual classes, just like what we are doing right now. So we've done this for 2.5 years, and that's fine. But we got stuck with a schedule of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. And then we said, well, why do we do that? We actually do that because we inherited that from the associations. And we said agents are usually busy during those hours. They don't have time to attend classes at 10 or at 1. And I started pre-recording all my sessions. So what we do at the MLS now is, since I pre-recorded every single session that I taught during the year, we decided to share those. So when people sign up for a class, actually it's called a workshop now, when they sign up for a workshop, we give them the pre-recorded class, the pre-recorded link to that class that I taught in the past, and they just show up for questions if there's any. All right. So that's kind of like what's going on at the MLS lately, and we're going to continue with that in 2023. So if you're planning to come to any of our classes, remember they are pre-recorded now. You can come to the workshop after you watch the video, and if you have questions. So that's why I was telling you that I haven't taught this class lately, just because of that. But anyway, I always start with the same information. Here is my info that I believe most of you already have. And my colleagues, Mark and Dave. Mark is the director of our department. Now, what is the objective of this class? To help you understand how the system works when you have a new listing, right? Understand the structure of the listing management wizard. We have a wizard covering the essentials such as photos, some public and private remarks, etc. So I'm going to cover some of the main things that we have with listing management. I don't know if you have a listing right now, Charles, or any of you watching this as a pre-recorded version, because I know Kristen is recording, and or you're actually transmitting this right to other people as a live session, but it's going to be pre-recorded. So listing management access, dashboard management, exclusions, MO, which is members only, active comp only listings, etc. So I'm going to cover a couple of things today, but let's start with some of the main rules. And I know you probably know them. If you are new to your brokerage, you are a totally brand new agent and you have a listing. What do you do? First of all, the broker, in this case, Jerry, he already set up where his listings should go, right? To which websites, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. When brokers open their account with MLS listings, they have access to the broker center and they set it up from there. So when you create a listing, it just follows the same route that the broker decided. So here are the rules. You have exactly 3 days after you get that listing and sign the contract with the seller. And I hope you have listings soon. Right now, it's kind of slow because of the time of the year and all that. But come January, we're going to have probably tons of them again. Not the first weekend, but the second one. Remember, the economy has been kind of shaking, but right now, gas prices are getting better. Interest rates have gone up, but they might start decreasing a little bit, according to our economist that we had an event with a couple of weeks ago. He mentioned that, right? Yeah, we might go into recession and all that. I'm not an economist, but I'm just following what they say. So I believe we're going to be in good shape in 2023, despite the recession. He said, the economist said that the recession for the real estate is going to pass by really soon. and we might go into recession for the electronics and high-tech companies and all that. So that's completely separate things. So just hang in there. I think we're gonna do pretty good in January. So once you have that listing that you need, what are you gonna do? You have 3 days exactly to put your listing on the MLS. That's the rule. We have rules and regulations. We actually have a document with about 69 pages of rules and regulations, and we don't want you to memorize all of them. We just go by the basics, right? If you have any questions, you always call the MLS compliance department or send an email at compliance@mlslistings.com or call 408-709. No, that's mine. 408-874 0200. 408-874, write it down, 0200. That's the MLS number. And then hit number 2. That is the compliance department. Or like I said before, send an email to compliance@mlslistings.com and they will reply to you right away with an answer, right? Some people are in a hurry. They just want to hear directly, call them up. So that's the fastest way. So you have 3 days to put your listing on the MLS as active, right? What if you're not ready? Let's say you just signed a contract last night and you wake up in the morning and your seller tells you that they need maybe 2 months because they changed their mind. You already have the contract with you, but they changed their mind. They need a couple of months to remodel their house. And what do? You say, sure, no problem. You have to put your listing under exclusion, all right? So you need to notify us that you excluded the listing. How does this happen? You go back to the MLS support page and pull the exclusion form. Fill it out with the name of the seller, the broker, the dates you want to exclude this property from today, maybe 2 months ahead of us, and then you're going to move it to active, right? Well, you can do it like that or exclude it for the life of the contract, whatever you decide. So you have, again, 3 days to either put it on the MLS as active or within the same time period, exclude it, or there's a third option here, which is coming soon, right? I'm gonna put everybody on mute so that we don't hear the background noise. All right. And so you're just gonna be hearing me right now. Let me know if you're hearing me. Actually, let me see if I can unmute you for a second. Okay, I think you're allowed to unmute yourselves if you have to. So, so we have 3 options again. Put it on the MLS as active within 3 days, exclude it within 3 days, or put it on there coming soon. But remember, we don't call it coming soon anymore. We call it members only. When you run a search in Matrix, and you've seen that, it says M, right? There's a letter M next to that listing. That is members only show, meaning you're going to still show it, but your listing is not being syndicated. That's what it is. And again, it could be there for the life of the contract as members only show. Now, remember, you cannot put it as active and then go back to show only. You will need to cancel that listing. So it's always good if you say, well, members only show or do not show. And then once you're ready, move it to active. Okay, that's the flow. All right. This will be the rules for all the listings that you have, regardless. It could be commercial, residential, mobile homes, anything, no exceptions. All right. So remember, once you exclude the listing, you get the form that I was telling you about. You fill it out. It takes you 1 minute, get the broker's signature, the seller's signature, and you can archive it, put it in your drawer. But then you need to come to our system and say, I want to exclude it. So there is on listing management, which is the name of that system we use to add a listing, there is a new exclusion. Excluding a listing will only take you about 1 minute. So it's fairly easy and you're not going to get lost. So Meeting Online eliminates questions. Did you receive my form? We used to have a lot of people calling us before saying, did you get my exclusion form by fax? So we don't, I mean, we still do that. You can send it by fax, but who uses a fax machine nowadays? Almost nobody, right? Well, let's talk about photos. You have 1 day. It used to be 3 days. You only have 1 day now to add photos to your listing. Now, remember, it's gotta be the front of the property. If you have only one photo, it's gotta be the front. But if you have more than one, let's say you have 25, there is no maximum. Minimum is one. Maximum, it could be anything, 50 photos, 100, 200, but you don't need to, right? 25 is good. So if you have 25, you can choose the one you like. For example, you say, I like the one with the fireplace because that's going to sell my property faster. So you choose if you have more than one. So within 1 day, no contact information, no signage, and true and accurate representation. So your photos have to be clean. You cannot type anything on the photo like call me at this number or anything like that, right? That's prohibited. And it's got to be the true and accurate representation of the property. If, for example, the photo, you use some software to patch up the driveway to make it look good, that is not allowed. You're going to get in trouble. You always have to state, if you ever did that, you have to put in public remarks that you did some photo changes and it's not reality, something like that. You probably have to find better words for that. Now, remember, we have the members only that replaced coming soon. It's SMO instead of CS. I think I should have changed that. We have active. Those are the statuses, right? So once again, what is a members only? You have a valid contract and you're not ready to show the property and you put it under MO, but your listing is not being syndicated to Zillow, Trulia, anywhere. You can also put it on the MLS as active, and that means you can start accepting offers and showing your property. Then if you accept an offer, right? You had your open house, you accepted an offer. What do? Well, if you realize there are some contingencies, you have to move it to AC, active contingent, and you need to clear a map before you move it to pending. Well, let's say you're good. You go from active to pending or AC after you clear the contingencies to pending. When you go to pending, there's going to be a pop-up box. And the pop-up box says, enter the close of escrow date. That date is very important to everyone. So you need to say, I'm going to close escrow 4 weeks from now, right? Now, 1 day before the 4 weeks are over, you realize you're not closing the deal. What do? You have to go back to your listing, open it up, and push the close of escrow date. If you don't do that, you're going to be cited. If the system catches up with that, you're going to be cited with, I think it's $100. So remember, there are citations involved. So if you are new to the MLS, if you're a new agent at Legend, make sure you understand the rules and regulations. There is a site where I can take you and show you these are the 69 pages for rules and regulations. But if you don't want to go through all of them, you can just simply call the MLS and say, hey, how many photos do I need? Or I don't understand the photo. Somebody from compliance will help you with that, right? Now, citations go from $100, $300, $500, up to $15,000. Can you believe that? I've never seen that happen, like more than $500, but it could be, right? Depending on the severity of the violation. And then everybody understands this one, right? Once you sell the property, you sold it, you go back to the system, put it as sold, so agents don't send you more requests that they want to see the property or anything like that. Expired and canceled are kind of similar, right? So let's say you put your listing on the MLS as an active listing for 3 months. That was your contract. Then nobody wanted it. What's going to happen? It expires. You don't do anything. It expires automatically. The problem here is that other agents in your area are looking for expired listings, and they go, oh, this property on 123 Main Street just expired. I want to work with those people. So it's a fair game. They can go after your ex-client, right? Because remember, the listing just expired. Well, that's fine. And cancel means the seller decided to cancel for whatever reason. Now, here's the problem. If you get one of those expired listings or cancel listings, somebody comes up to you and says, you know what? I was working with another agent, but I didn't like that agent for whatever reason. So I decided to cancel, and now I want to work with you. You go, okay, that's good. Let's sign a contract. And you do it. You sign the contract and grab the listing and put it on the MLS right away. What's going to happen? You're going to inherit the days on the market the other agent had. So if your client was working with this other agent, right? They accrued 60 days on the market, and you put it on the MLS, immediately you get 60 days on the market and one more for today since you started, right? 61, 62, 63. Well, you want to avoid that. So that happens with expired and canceled. What you need to do is you need to, you can sign the contract. You can probably put your listing under members only for your colleagues to see that it's coming soon, but you need to wait 30 days to put it on the MLS as active, right? Again, expired and canceled, you have to wait 30 days. If you get one of those, on day 31, you put it back on the MLS and it starts fresh with 0 days on the market to the eye of the consumer. If I'm an agent and I find that listing of yours and I go through the history, I want to go, I know what they did. So they just they had 60 days before, they canceled, blah blah blah. So only agents can see that, but people can't. Now, withdrawn is one of the most popular statuses here, right? What is that? So let's say you have a couple, right? You're working with, you put their property on the market in Santa Clara, which is your area, and they accrued 5 days on the market. In the morning on day 6, they wake up, or day 5 actually, they wake up and they decided to call you because they have an emergency and they have to travel. They call you and say, hey, you know what? We have to go out of the country for 5 weeks. The entire family, nobody's gonna be here to show the property. Can we cancel? You say, no, don't worry. We don't need to cancel it. We just need to put it under withdrawn. It's like you grab the property and put it under the table, right? You hold it for them. So you're actually pausing, you're hitting the pause button, right? You're pausing that listing and it's going to be under withdrawn until they come back. So once they come back, you grab it again and move it to back on the market. It's like you are resuming the pause, right? So for 5 weeks, the days on the market didn't count. When they come back after 5 weeks, you hit resume, and now it goes to day number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. So that's kind of like the way it works. Remember, the status changes must be reported by the end of the next day. So if you had an offer on Saturday and you accepted it, by the end of Sunday, you have to go back to our system and say it's no longer available. It's pending, or it's AC, active contingent. Now, this is the most common violation. A lot of agents don't do this, and you could be cited with $100 for not doing it, right? So be careful with that. And remember that when you move it from active to pending, etc., you get that pop-up box and you need to enter the close of escrow date. Well, that is just the basic rules, right? Now on here, let me stop sharing this and reshare my other screen. I hope you got to see everything. Now you pretty much see my screen. Yeah, you are looking at my screen, right? Now let me tell you where, remember that document that I told you about with so many rules and regulations? It is gonna be right here. When you go to the pro support right here, I know somebody just left. See, I'm keeping an eye on all of you. Somebody just left, but I want to remind you that if you have to leave, it's okay. You can always watch the pre-recorded version that Kristen is doing right now for all of you. She's gonna repost it, I believe. All right. So here you go to our support page. So I went to pro support on the MLS page, and on this page, I'm gonna type MLS listings, rules and regulations right there, and say go. Oh, I hope I did it right. I didn't get it right. MLS listings, rules and regulations. Let me type it correctly. MLS listings. I think I got it right. Okay, so once you type that in, right, you get this and this right here, rules and with changes. This is the entire document that you can review if you want to. Here are all the rules about your listings. That's a lot of reading. I wouldn't recommend you to do that. Just go by the basics. And if you have questions, call the MLS for clarification. Now, another thing I wanted to show you is on the same page, right? Right here. Remember, I talked about the exclusion form. Where do you find that form? So from here, you go to support page. You land right here, go to forms right here in the middle of the page, and under listing management, this tab, not this one, you are going to find the exclusion form. This is the one you need to fill out when you exclude the listing, right? Fill it out with the seller's information and the dates when you want this to be excluded temporarily from now until maybe March, 3 months from now, or whenever, or permanently until the end of the contract. You need the seller signature, the broker signature, etc. Remember, this is the one that you can archive. And don't forget, after you did this and you archived it, you need to come back to our system and exclude it on there. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. There is one more thing I need to show you. Listing management. This is where I went for the exclusion form. And I'm going to go now to, how did I get there again? Let me step back. Remember, I went to, I'm trying to recap, pro support. I went to forms. I just went to listing management for that exclusion form. But I wanted to show you this one, listing input. Back in the day, when we didn't have much technology, agents went to the properties that they were selling with a notebook, and they captured all the information right there, right? But it was all scrambled. Now the MLS created this, the listing input forms. So you can say, and I'm going to go to residential. If you're planning to go to the property, you go with this form, right? It's actually 11 sheets. Just download it, save it to your computer, print it, and then fill it out for that property that you're going to sell. And what I like about this is you fill it out, and every section that you see right here is going to match the sections in our system. So you compile the data, and then you come back to the office with all that information for the 123 Main Street, sit down, put these forms that are already filled out next to you, and then you proceed to enter all this data in our system, which is called listing management, but everything is going to be organized. And one thing I wanted to tell you, those fields, those areas with an asterisk, what does that mean? We all know the universal language nowadays, right? When you go online and you see the asterisk, that means required field. So you have to capture all those, especially with the asterisk, because on the system, we're going to have to enter that. All right. Okay, great. Now, let's talk about the exclusions, right? Well, let me take you to matrix searches for a second, right? Matrix searches. So when you are looking for properties, active single family homes, and let's go to Santa Clara, because that's your area. I came up with 44 listings. Let's go to results, right? Now, here's a couple of things I wanted to tell you. Now, M, members only. Remember, we talked about that. Members only show, members only do not show. They both do not accrue any days on the market. DOM, days on the market. Both of them not accruing days on the market. Actually, let me be clear on that. Members only show you are accruing days on the market in the background. So it doesn't show right here. When you close the deal, when you close the transaction, those days that your property remained on M, like that M right there, let's say 5 days, are gonna be added to the final count right there, okay? But the other one, members only do not show, they never accrue days on the market, they never appear anywhere, they're not added anywhere. And remember, they are not being syndicated. This one though, be careful with it. If you put your listing on the members only do not show, don't show it. If you do, you're gonna be cited with $500, okay? So be careful with that. Now, another thing I wanted to show you is multi-class. You can promote your listing as a members only, as a single family home on the residential. But if there is that little house in the back, how do you do that? Well, do the multi-class. So rule number one, you have to add your listing as a single family home first, right? If it's a single family home. And then you add it to the multi-class. That means adding that little house in the back. So if I click here on Pomeroy Avenue, I know this is a single family home with a detached unit in the back, right? So that's the little house in the back that we were talking about. And that's not the only one. On here it might be, because we don't have many in Santa Clara. But if I look, let me go back to my criteria and do Santa Clara County, right? And I have 890. We're gonna see several with the letter M, right? M on Calaveras Road, on Almaden. All these are single family homes with another detached unit next to it or in the back. And how do you do this? I'm gonna show you in a minute. So we already talked about members only. There is one more thing I wanted to tell you about. Disclosures, right? What is that? Now, we used to have a product called Doc Central. It's gone away. There's no more Doc Central anymore. We replaced it with a new product called Aculist Disclosures. If you don't know what that is, on our main page right now, it says Aculist Disclosures. Click on that, right? Not right now. When we are done with the class, click on Aculist Disclosures, and there is the 10-minute training on how this works. I cannot show it to you because I don't have access to the tool yet, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So basically, you're gonna have to go to Manage Listings, right? And you can then share disclosures with the listing agent, the buyer's agent, and the buyer's agent can share the disclosures with their clients. So when you go to, let's assume that you already have an active listing, right? It didn't quite work for me. So here, so you have an active listing, right? Like this one on Bordeaux Drive. And you have to go to your active listings. It's active. Then you go to Aculist Disclosures right here. And that's how you say, I want to share disclosures with some agents, right? My view is not the correct one. It shows this. This was like the test phase. When you watch that video that I'm telling you about right here, you will definitely see what is the right version of it. It's 10 minutes and you're going to learn a lot on how this works. And this is available to all of you right now. So disclosures is one of the new changes we have. There is one more that we're working with, and I don't have access to that one yet. I'm just telling you, right? It's coming up. It's called aligned showings. Aligned showings. I know some of you work for showings with Calendly and other pieces of software, right? But these pieces of software are already integrated with Matrix. So if I go to Matrix again, and let me go, I'm in Santa Clara because I want to show you that real quick. Santa Clara, I'm gonna filter. There is one field called aligned showings. Do you see that one? If you don't know how to do that, just go to the bottom of the page, click add and remove, and look for aligned showings, and move it to the right. So I put it at the top of my list, right? Right there. See that? I'm just making sure you're looking at my screen. Yes, you are. And then over here, I'm looking for active single family homes in Santa Clara. Or I hope you're all still with me. And then at the very bottom, under the results, additional fields, I added this field, right? I want to see only those that have been added to aligned showings. So there are 14, all these properties right here on Haymarket, Lee Drive, Kester, San Ramon, etc. They all have that. So if I open the report right now, what do I see? Schedule a showing. So the listing agent, the buyer's agent is checking out this property and they go, oh, I like this. I want to schedule a showing with the listing agent. So all I do is click schedule a showing, right? And this is already working. And then you select the dates. Well, just follow the steps from 1 through 3 and send them, I can view at this date, right? So the listing agent is going to get an email saying, somebody wants to check your property. Are you available that day, that time? So some agents just say, authorize all the requests automatically. But maybe you don't want that. So there is that option that you can say, no, I want to take a look. I want to take a look at that request first to show the property because maybe I want to have a meeting or something important, right? So it's up to you when you are the listing agent setting this up. So this is the buyer's agent looking at this. If I go and follow the steps right now, I'm going to have this agent contacting me saying, yep, you can come and see the property, right? But this is just a class, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just showing you how that works. You can always go, if you are the listing agent, you can go to your messages and review the upcoming messages to you, and you can approve or disapprove, right? So 2 different things that we looked at today on listing management that maybe they are new to you, right? What are those? Aligned showings, which is this. Now we're gonna be able to schedule showings through the tool that is already available to you. And if you have questions, call customer support to help you out with this. And because I don't have the full access to it, right? But so you set it up the same way. From if you are the listing agent, you're gonna see your listing right here. Let me go back. Let me go back to my listings right here. You're gonna have your aligned showings right here. I'm on a test site, right? Trainers mode. So that's why I can't really access the real tool. But I'm telling you. So we saw aligned showings, which is this, and AccuList disclosures. Remember, the disclosures are the ones that we saw right here, right? We used to see them right there. I don't think we're gonna see them there anymore for right now until they complete that step. But at least if you want to share your disclosures right now with the buyer's agents, you can already set them up like I did before, right? I think I told you, just go back to here and check the disclosures. All right, I'm just gonna walk you through the steps on how to create how to exclude your listing. If you have an exclusion, how do you do that? Remember, you already filled out the form that I told you what it is. And then you're gonna jump to manage my listings right here. Manage my listings. And then once it opens up, you say, you go to this purple button and say, exclude my listing, right? Now, here is the thing, right? This opens once you go to manage listings here or my listings here. Either or will take you to that area, correct? I'm trying to move that button to the right place. Where am I? Right. Well, I'm going to continue to be right there. So what I wanted to show you is once you land on the listing management tool, which is this is where you go to start your listing, right? From scratch. And you can do a couple of other things. You can start it as a regular listing. That means active. You can say, no, I'm not ready. I want this to be a members only. So you have to say, yeah, members only. So I cannot really show the property yet. Well, there is a members only show and do not show, right? So you have to read this, and it says, this listing is being placed in the members only category with the distribution preferences for internet set to no. So it's not going anywhere, not going to Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, anywhere. So you need to acknowledge that and say, yes, I understand, and go to the next step. And do you want it to show or do not show? If you say do not show, it's going to tell you if you show the property, that is a violation. It doesn't say here, you're going to be cited with $500, right? But you have to be aware of that. And then you proceed, right, to enter the information. And then once you want to move it to active, you just go to members only, to your members only category. And there is a way to move it to active with a single button right there, okay? I'm not gonna do that. I'm just telling you what the options are. So again, from the purple button, active listing is regular listing, members only, I already told you that. You can clone one of your past listings. Now, watch out. You can only clone one of your past listings if you are still with your same brokerage. For example, let's say you are new to Legend, right? But you were an agent at Intero last week, and you have been at Intero for the last 5 years. And you go, oh, I want to pull one of those listings and clone it and make it mine again, because I'm going to work with that same client I had at Intero. Well, guess what? It's not going to work. You cannot clone it because listings belong to the brokers. It belongs to Intero, not to your new brokerage, in this case, Legend. So you have to start from scratch, right? But if you are still with, let's say you've been with Legend for the last 5 years, the same client calls you, they want to try it again. It's easier to copy the past listing they did or you did with them and just modify the price, the photos, etc. So that's why cloning is there. Adding a multi-class. Remember what I said earlier? The MC in Matrix, remember this? MC. That's the easiest way to find properties with a little property, with a little unit in the back. But remember, we also call them what? We also call them, and I'm going to show you that. We also call them the ADUs right here. So if you are the buyer's agent and the buyer tells you, I love the property and I love they have a big yard, I wonder if I could build an extra unit in the back, and you are not sure, you can create a report for free. This is another free benefit you have. You click on ADU, right? And it's going to say, oh, you want to create a report for this property. And it's going to tell you immediately under projects, you're going to say access dwelling units, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to generate that report and tell you right away if they sketch an ADU, right? It's going to tell you if they can build a unit in the back of the house. First of all, it tells you, yes, it's allowed or not, it's not allowed, etc. I want to say at an ADU, blah, blah, blah. Sign in. Well, it's going to walk you through the steps. but it's gonna tell you if it's permitted or not by the county. So just follow the steps. Pretty easy to use. Everybody loves it. In this case, I believe that you're probably allowed, right, for this San Ramon Drive in this, because they have a big piece of property. So I believe this is the backyard. So your ADU might be placed right here. So this is another great benefit you have, and it comes from here, right? From ADUs. Now, we were talking about the little house in the back, MC, right? So if you are entering your listing, where do you go for that? You go to add a multi-class. You go to, remember, you already added it as a single family home. Then you select that single family home that you already created, and you say, I want to add this as a residential income as well. So that's the extra unit that you're building in the back. Remember, there was a new regulation or initiative, that's the right word, that came out a couple of years ago from Sam Liccardo in San Jose, or I don't know if it's a statewide, where people can build an extra unit in their backyard to help themselves with their mortgage, because the mortgages started going through the roof in San Jose and Santa Clara, Mountain View. And so they can build a unit and rent it. So a lot of people want to create that. So then if they already have the extra unit already built, you can say, yeah, it's a single family home and I want it as a single residential income. There's a little duplex right there, right? Or multiple dwelling, like a couple of extra units in the back. And okay, so your unit then is going to appear once you list it like this. Got it? I hope it was not too confusing, because I'm telling you like many things at the same time. Well, therefore, I'm not going to walk you through the entire process on how to add a listing. It's pretty self-explanatory. So if you want to add a new listing, we go and we always hit the purple button, right? And you say, I'm going to start a new listing now. Oh, well, before I go that, we already know about the exclusion. It takes you literally 1 minute to, once you have the signed copy and you archived it, to add the exclusion, right? Let me actually do that for you. Add an exclusion. I'm going to say residential single family home. And all I need to do is say, well, this is my office. Yours is going to be Legend. Automatically, your name is going to pop up. And then you need to say, here is my exclusion date. I'm excluding it from today, maybe 3 months ahead of me, right? December, January, February, let's say March 2nd, something like that. So 3 months from now. And then you say, this is my property, 4949. No, that's Great American Park. I think that's the Levi Stadium, right? I'm gonna exclude that. I want to do this Santa Clara, and let's say I want to exclude this property. All I do is, once I enter the address, you search, right? It's going to come up. It's going to tax records and populate that exclusion automatically to fill out this form. So it says, voila, right? In a couple of seconds, it's going to give me, I don't know, it's taking too long. Okay, there you go. It's a commercial property, but let's pretend it's residential. So you import the data to fill out every field, and then you say, I confirm that I have the seller's request in writing to not market. The seller does not want to market this property on the MLS yet. So that's why you're excluding it. And then you submit that, right? I'm on trainers mode, which is our fake site. So I can submit and I'm not going to be in trouble. I don't ever want to do this with a real site. So don't play around with the real site unless you have a real one. Ask somebody that already knows to walk you through it, right? And then my exclusion has been submitted, and this I can always check it out under my excluded listings for the Calle de Escuela right here. And this is the one I just did today. And I can always stop it, right? And say, now I want to move it to active listings, right? So how do I do an active listings? I forgot one thing, one little detail. I can always use this view, or I can use my other view. There's two different views. Tile view. Some people like colors and tiles, and you pretty much have the same choices here. Remember, all these choices create a new regular listing, members only, clone, etc. right there. And then you have your alerts, your drafts, your active listings, your contingent, etc. So you can work here, but remember, if you start working on this one and you start a new listing, don't worry, you can always switch to the other view and continue on that one and back and forth. You don't lose anything. The system is auto saving your progress every like 10 seconds after you type something. Even if there's a power outage, don't worry about it, right? So I want to start now. Let's say I'm done. I compiled the data. I came back. I have my my forms that I filled out when I went to the property, the one I told you about, the input form. I put it next to me, and I'm going to start my new listing. So I already told you about the exclusion. Like I said, it takes you literally 1 minute to exclude it online so that we know this is just between you and the MLS, right? The exclusion thing. And now you're going to add a listing. So I'm not going to waste your time. I know that most of you are pretty smart and you already know this. I'm going to tell you how, right? It's like when you go to the ATM machine, it tells you insert your card and then enter your PIN number. And then it says, do you want to transfer money? Do you want to withdraw money? Same thing. Just say, I want to start my new listing. And it says, what type of listing? Oh, it's a residential, it's a commercial, it's lots and land. Well, let's go for residential right now. And within residential, is it single family home, condominium, townhouse, etc. I want to say it's single family home. And then it's going to put me right at the top of the process. So all you need to do is start your listing with the required data. Part of it is already there, right? Then you go to property overview, which is this. You can always expand all your fields. And remember, you have some asterisks. Remember on the input forms, I said, make sure you cover the fields with the asterisk. That's because those are going to be needed right here. You need to input something. If you don't, you will never be able to submit your listing. Now, there is a trick. If you're planning to play around with this system right now, because you're new, you can use your mom's address, your ex-husband's, your ex-wife's. Just don't submit this, right? But make sure you miss a couple of fields with the asterisk. So don't put anything in there. So the system will never let you submit, right? That's the trick to play around with this system. You enter everything, make sure you miss a couple of those with the asterisk so you don't submit. Now, you can also shrink. If you say, I just want to do everything, I'm in a hurry, I want to submit my listing ASAP, Jerry is waiting for me, he said, add this listing today by this time. And you go, that's so many fields. How am I going to finish? Well, what you do, you say, show me the required fields only, and it only shows you whatever is required. That is going to compress your data entry, maybe if you had 300 fields to input, you just do the main ones, the one with the asterisk or required ones. You do maybe 100 instead of 300, right? That helps a lot. But there is a little problem with that. If you ever compress your listing and you remember the rule, you need to add at least one photo, you're going to miss that section, right? It doesn't show. So if you already submitted, you compressed everything, you typed everything in, and then you submitted your listing, don't forget to come back, decompress it, go back to number 7, and then add your photo, right? Marketing photos. See, now it is available. All right. So I let it decompress right now. You can always, after you typed everything in, you can also print, review with your broker what you're missing, what you're not missing. There's a section, especially, it's actually, I believe, this one that you work with your broker. But so let's go back to the beginning. All right. So the beginning starts here. You already said it's a single family home. Is it attached or detached? If you don't know, you always read next to it what the tip is, what is attached, what is detached. For every field, we have a tip right there. Now, I'm going to say it's detached, listing office, your legend right there. And if you are co-listing with somebody, next step is going to take you automatically to number 2. On here, you don't need to type in the APN, zip code, county, nothing like that. You can just go and type in the address. Let's say 5858 Alcazar Drive, right? I hope this is a real one. So 5858 Alcazar Drive, you go to Realist to look for the data. So the system is reaching out to Realist and it's going to come back. It's a single family home. Yay. So check the owner's name, check square footage, lot size. Yep, this is correct. Import the data, and that's going to help you autofill everything right here, right? Part of the number 2 right here, street address, the street number, city, state, etc., up to number of bedrooms, bathrooms, up to school, elementary school district. So we automatically import the school district. But now be careful with that, because some agents enter this wrong. They go to elementary school and they pick whatever they want, middle school, whatever they want, high school, whatever they want. So you might be sued if you say something wrong. That's why a lot of agents refrain from doing this. So what you have to do at this point, you already imported the data, call San Jose Unified and tell them, I have 5858 Alcazar Drive in San Jose. Can you tell me what the names of the elementary, middle, and high school names are? And they tell you, right? So you choose the right ones and you're not running the risk. Ultimately, before you sell the property, you give the new buyer the school district's card and tell them, check with them to make sure we have the right schools for your kids. Because they might be spending $3 million and they don't get their kids to go to the right schools, and then they sue you because you said something wrong here. So just be careful with that. And then after that, you're going to continue with every single step, entering, is this property within city limits? This is not required, but the more data you enter, the better. Now, there is a required field, cross street. Let's say I know we have Blossom Hill Road. I'm just pretending, right? Because I don't know exactly where this is. So you type in the cross street and how to get to the property by car. You are on Highway 85, take the first exit on Blossom Hill, blah, blah, blah. And then you go to the next step, which is number 3. And then you say, yep, it's still active, or no, it's comps only. Comps only means you excluded the property for 3 months. Somebody came with a bag of cash and you sold it while it was excluded. We still want agents to come back and tell the rest of the community no, that they sold the property while it was excluded, so they can use that property for their comps. Well, anyway, you're gonna continue entering the data for everything right here, right? Especially the required fields, and then interiors, exteriors, especially required fields, community information, if the property belongs to a community, yes or no, and if there's an HOA, the builder's name, and then you get to number 7. By the way, there is always a button right here that says, do you want to know where your broker is syndicating? You can click the button and it's going to tell you. Once you complete this and send it, it's going to go to the MLS almost immediately, and then it's going to be syndicated within the next couple of hours or days. It could take 24 hours, 48 hours, or up to 72 hours to go to the different websites. 840 different websites in the United States. That is the syndication. Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, all of those, not cars.com, right? That's a different one. So that's syndication. So if you want to learn where your listing is going, or where Jerry went there and approved which websites, just go there, okay? So that's right there. So once you get to marketing photos, you say, yep, I want to add photos. Go to your pictures folder. You already have everything right there. Select the photos that you want to add, right? Say open, and it starts uploading your photos to your listing. And remember, if you have more than one, you can select a different one other than the front. But if remember, you always start with the front. Usually it's always better. I can swap. I can grab this one and bring it here. It's not swapping. It's not dragging. Well, you can also say one, enter. See, it brought it. You can delete a picture and then go back to the trash can and recover it, right? And then underneath it says, do you want to put it on your open house and tour? You can't, not at this point. You have to make sure you completed all these steps and you already sent it to the MLS and posted in our site, Matrix, Paragon, etc. And then it started going out to the different websites. And then once it's active, this will be available, right? When you come back and edit your listing, this will be available. So we have a field for branded tours, unbranded tours, 3D tours, etc. That's the marketing information. And then we have public remarks. Remember, really important. What do you enter in public remarks? Only not vague information, not vague, but you just describe the property. Nothing private like the sellers are traveling right now, the house is empty. No, because everybody's going to watch it throughout the world. We submit this listing publicly to 840 websites in the US. Some people grab them and send them overseas, right? For investors in India, China, etc. So make sure you don't add anything private. Just beautiful house in Santa Clara County, blah, blah, blah. Nothing private. You have an area where you go to agent remarks and you're going to describe that for the agents to see, right? So over here, just type whatever you want, fill out. Do you want this listing on the internet? Always say yes, unless you really, really don't want it on the internet, only internally, you will do that, right? There are some specific cases. Like there was a lady that said, Carlos, my daughter is getting divorced. She doesn't want anybody to know. I'm a realtor. I'm going to help her. And I told her, turn it off, right? Say internet, no, only agents will see it. And sure enough, they sold their property right away, only among the agents, nobody else knew. So you're going to say, always show the full act, say yes to everything, go to the next one for agents, say, talk about the disclosures, right? Add disclosures right here. I have all these documents, but you're just letting them know that you have the documents. You're not sharing them. If you want to share the documents, what are you going to use? Oculus disclosures. Remember, we just talked about that over and over. Oculus disclosures. This is the newest thing, and it's free to you. And you can share your documents right away with all your clients. We're almost done. Just bear with me. So you're going to complete everything, every step here. I like it because it shows me. If you are at this level, by the way, the little area right here disappears, right? So you just see it like this. So make sure you are zoomed in a little bit so you can see all the steps. The final step, you verify everything is correct. At the very end of the page, you say next step, right? Verify, and it's gonna tell you, you have, in this case, because I didn't complete everything, I have so many fields that I missed, right? I just click on that, heating field, and it takes me back there, and I'm gonna choose solar, for example. And then I go to the next one. Now I have 23. List price is required. What was the list price for this property? $2.5 million, right? Now, if you make a mistake, you have 3 days to correct it without affecting anything. That's actually a great thing that we didn't have before, right? $2.5 million, I did it correct. And then I go and check for errors. So you're gonna eliminate one by one. And when you're finally done, you just say, I fixed all my errors. The system is gonna tell you don't have any more errors. Go to the next step, submit. Do you really want to submit? Voila, you have it. Once you submitted it, it's gonna appear right here under active. So let's say this is the one, right? I just submitted. What can you do once it's active? You can put it on their open house. You're gonna have an open house on Saturday and Sunday. And you go, yep, I want to have this coming Saturday, tomorrow from 1 to 4 and submit my open house for this house, right? And then I want to do my, why didn't it submit? You can't save an open house without, okay. So I have, well, something is missing, but you, oh yeah. So I said the 3rd, submit. Okay, there it is, right? And then I'm gonna do Sunday and so forth. So I'm gonna go back to my dashboard on my active listings. Now my listing is active. I can do multiple things, right? I can add it to the open house for Saturday, for Sunday. I can do my Oculus disclosures. I can attach them and then I can send them to the buyer's agents, and I can do my showings as well and more stuff. So I'm going to stop it right here because that's already a lot of information. Thank you very much, everyone. And I already run out of time. We are 3 minutes over the hour. Thank you very much, everyone, for staying with me. And thank you to those of you watching this pre-recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Charles, for
Thank
always
you.
being here. Thank you, Kristen,
Yeah,
for
I have a
inviting me.
question for you. What is
Yeah.
the managed key box? So you can use the Wi-Fi to control the managed key box?
I'm not totally sure about that, Kristen. Who's that? Kristen or who's
Helen.
who?
Yeah, I also
Oh.
can have.
Okay, so yeah, for that question, you actually have to call the Association of Realtors. We don't have anything to do with Supra iBoxes, keys, and nothing like that.
And I also have another question for you is once you change the list orders, you should be receiving the early deposit EMD, then change the status, right? If you change it, the people didn't pay deposit, which is gonna be canceled. It's very
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you well. There's some background noise right there. Can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
probably there's some people it didn't unmute, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my question is, once
me-
you
Let me put
Didn't-
everybody on mute. Hold on 1 second. Let me put everybody on mute. And where is that? Participants right here. Mute everybody and you can unmute yourself, okay? All
okay,
right.
yeah, thank you.
All
Yeah,
right.
my question is, once you active your listing, you didn't receive EMD, so you change the status be like contingent or pending. If the client didn't pay the EMD, which is you change back, it's really not good for the listing status.
Right. But okay. Again, I'm not the compliance person here. So what I would recommend you to do is for these types of questions, call compliance because they are the ones that can give you the best answer. So if I tell you something now, it might be wrong. So I
Yeah.
prefer not to. So sorry about that.
Okay, so for you, understanding is once you are on contract, you need to put change the status as
As
Contingent or
pending or active contingent, correct?
okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So I hope that helps. And if you want any further answer, just call compliance. They're really always there for you.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you soon. Happy
I have
holidays.
question.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I have question. Can
Yeah.
I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I noticed just recently, I don't know when it started, in the public information, you cannot put our listing agents contact information anymore, right?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
you mean
you
here?
cannot do it anymore, right?
Yeah,
And
you can't.
another question is regarding the single family house, the detached. There are some houses, it is absolutely detached, but in the title, it's not single house. It has a condominium word in the title report. So in that kind of situation, what should we do? So
Well, I believe you have to choose when you list your property. I don't know if you're talking about that, like when you're listing the property.
yeah,
Yeah, you have to select the right one. You say, I want to create a regular listing. So people make mistakes when they start from the very beginning, right? What type of listing do you want? It says residential, right? They go, yeah, residential, but they just pick the first one. So you need to check the title. You need to check tax records to make sure it's either a condo or a townhouse or a single family home, because these forms are different when you fill them out. So that's probably, you're right. Some agents just go to the first one and it was not the right one. It was a condo, right? When you go condo, yeah, this is going to give you the right fields. So I hope that helps, because I believe that's what's happening.
Okay. Some house built a long time ago, when the builder record to the county, it's not clear. As a matter of the fact, the house itself is single family house, but somehow in the title report, they are condominium. They have that word in the title report. So yeah, it's confusing.
I think, yeah, I'm not sure. I think you probably have to go back to the county to correct that.
Okay.
Because you know what? You're absolutely right. I have the same problem with my house.
Oh,
My house is single family house, and somehow it pops up sometimes as a condo. And I go, what? Because I live in an HOA,
yeah.
but I haven't had any problem. Neither when I purchased the house, they had any problem. It was just fine, because you can just tell them it's an error from the county, but it's a single family home. But
Okay.
if you really want to fix it, you definitely have to go to the county and tell them, you know what, you need to correct that.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, all right. Well, enjoy the rest of the evening and your weekend and your holidays. I'm gonna take off the Christmas lights the next time I see you. Right now, I just have the lights right behind me. But it was a pleasure being with you as usual. I enjoy coming to Legend. I've always done it, and I've been with you for several years now. So I'm glad to see that Legend is growing and growing. And I wish you the best for these holidays, for more and more opportunities that you have, more listings. Things are gonna get better, I'm pretty sure. So best wishes to all of you. All right. Have a good one. Take
Thank
care.
you.
See you
You
soon.
too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Take care. Bye.
Sure.